Hello, third graders. Remember how in math we've been talking about bar graphs? And bar graphs are a graph that uses height or length of rectangles to compare different kinds of data. And data is a collection of information. So we've been talking about how graphs are a really great way to show information, because sometimes, like when you read a book, looking at a picture helps you understand the information a lot better. So our math focus for this week is, again, it says I can identify the different parts of bar graphs and explain the meaning of their data. So we're going to be doing that a little bit today, and we're going to be talking about different kinds of bar graphs and sometimes how they shift the scale and how they shift the scale and the data to make it look a little bit different. So remember how last time I did a video for you, we showed how there's the title at the top of the bar graph usually, and then how on the side there was the scale, the number of different students who like the different kinds of candy. And at the bottom there were the labels, which were the different kinds of candy. Today we're going to look at a different kind of bar graph where they shift the labels and the scale, which you'll see a lot. It's when the bar graph shifts to the side. So we're going to look at this bar graph up here. My husband is doing a great job doing all the videoing for me. So we're looking at this bar graph right here, and it says Mr. Hernandez's class took a vote on their favorite lunchtime drinks and graph the results. Use the graph to answer the questions. So you can see right here, the drinks or the labels move to the side, and the number of kids or the scale move to the bottom. So it's kind of like we just tipped the whole bar graph on its side. So we're going to answer some questions. We're going to really start working today on analyzing that data. So we're going to look and see what they did here. One of the first things that I always ask students to do is I always say, make sure you look at that scale and what numbers it goes up by. So I think it's really important to notice here that we're seeing that it goes from 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. So you can see here the favorite drinks that were white milk, it's between the 2 and the 4. So that what number is between 2 and 4? It's 3. So you can see that 3 people had white milk as their favorite drinks. It's really important when you're analyzing or looking at the data for bar graphs that you're noticing if the scale goes up by 1 or if it goes up by different numbers. Because when you get to third grade, they're really asking you to look at the data by different numbers. Okay, so it says number 1, at the end of each bar, write the correct number of votes. Okay, so I'm doing that right now. So I'm going to chocolate milk and I'm following it down. Wow, it's between the 6 and the 8. So I'm going to write that 7 students chose that. It asked me to do it at the end of the bar, so I'm going to cross it off and do it right there. The next one is white milk. So I can see that it's between that 2 and the 4, and I know what number comes in between that. It's 3. So 3 students chose white milk. The next one is the fruit juice, and that comes to the end of the line. It's between the 8 and the 10, and what number comes there? It's 9. And the last one is water, and it comes between the 10 and the 12, and what number is there? It's the 11. So I did that for number 1. The next one says, number 2, how many kids chose chocolate milk as their favorite? So it looks like we had 7 kids. So notice how I'm also labeling that. I don't want to just write 7. I need to make sure I'm writing 7 kids. Number 3, how many kids voted in all? This is a really common question when you're analyzing bar graph information. So think to yourself and maybe pause this video and say, what do you think I need to do in order to find out how many kids voted in all? Okay, so you've come back and I'm going to help you a little bit out with that. That means you're going to add up how many people voted in each category. So I'm going to add 7 plus 3 plus 9 plus 11. Wow, I know that 7 and 3 together make 10, and 9 and 11 together make how many, Jason?
20.
20. So we've got 9 and 11 give us 11, that gives us 20, and this gives us 10. So I know that we have 30 kids all together. So notice how I go through each amount, a number of kids who voted for water, who voted for fruit juice, who voted for white milk, and who voted for chocolate milk. Then number 4, it says how many more kids voted for water than white milk. So first I have to look at how many kids voted for water, which I know is 11. I don't know if you can see that. I'll push it up a little bit. And then I'll say white milk was 3. Kids voted for that. So 11 minus 3 is 11, 10, 9, 8. So I have 8 more kids voted for water than white milk. So what happens for a lot of these when we're analyzing bar graph data is that we're looking, you're going to have to answer questions based on comparing some of either the comparing some of the data.